No, go play with your toys. Okay.
All right, there we go. All right, good afternoon, Monique. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing well. So I've got your resume here in front of me. You have applied to a medical intake coordinator position of mine, and you have a fantastic background working in healthcare. So let's start with what you were doing most recently for work at Prime Therapeutics.
There I did numerous things. I was originally hired for patient financial services coordinator. That was basically enrolling patients into copay assistance who needed help with their medications to help pay. Um, So after that, once I had already knew the system that they were using, I then started in the wait for pay department where that was taking payments for any delinquent accounts, any orders that was set to be um, put on the FedEx or UPS truck before that order goes out to make sure that the patient has paid their account. I also was a subject mentee expert. That was almost like a team lead. So I had the ability to train new employees and current employees just to make sure that everyone was on the same page of how the process works. I also created training materials to show them step by step how to go through that process. I would assist in Microsoft Teams chat and Skype when we had it to just service any employees that needed help or questions when they were taking calls. I also worked with the pharmacists doing adverse events, so reporting any lost medication or any side effects to the medication, reporting that. Um, Taking escalation calls, supervisor calls, verifying insurance benefits, well, not creating, but initiating prior authorizations, sending it over to either the doctor or the insurance company, and following up on that to make sure to see what the decision was, whether or not it was approved or denied, keeping the patient updated, and contacting the doctor's office and insurance companies.
All right, fantastic. What software programs were you using over there?
So at that time, they were using ScriptMed. I'm not sure if it's changed, but I don't think so. But it was ScriptMed. So previous to Prime Therapeutics, when I was working with Centene, that was the same system that we were using. So that's how I was familiar when coming on with Prime Therapeutics.
Fantastic. Now, you were doing a lot of different steps in the process. So, on average, and maybe you'll be able to better answer this, maybe with more of a metric style question. How were your metrics judged at work? Were you having to close out a case? Was it by the number of calls, inbound or outbound?
Because I was doing so many things and I was working on special projects, I didn't necessarily have to take calls. So I would be like in a special project on my phone to where I'm not receiving any calls. I might have to make outbound calls, or let's just say the if there was high call volume, then I would be asked to, step in, help out, clear the calls, and then go back into special project. Um, when it came to like my metrics and everything, I mean, me and my supervisor would have like a weekly meeting of, basically just telling me, okay, you're exceeding expectations, and that's what it always was. Um, Other than that, it would just be, anything that they could help me with, improving something, or if I had any concerns that I wanted to address. Usually it was none, um, other than just because they started this new job leveling. So it was just basically, you know, asking for my job leveling to go up further than what I was. But other than
Okay,
that, my metrics were good. It was always
all right,
exceeding expectations.
beautiful, beautiful. Now, what about an instance? Let's say you had to deal with someone that maybe was a little bit upset on the phone. How do you handle a situation like that?
So there were a lot of calls of that because, especially with FEP insurance, and that's like with the government. So previously, they were receiving their medication from CVS. So you would get a lot of customers that would call upset because now they're having to use a different pharmacy, and they just felt like the communication just wasn't there. So what I would do, I've had many calls where customers, didn't want to use us anymore, was upset about the change. So I would just assure them that I would put a critical note on their account, which means anytime someone opens that account, that pop-up alert will automatically come up. So that way that representative knows how to handle the account. Um, so I would do that. I would assure the customer, patient, that, from here on out, everything will go smoothly going forward. There were times where sometimes a patient did not receive their medication within a timely frame, and they needed that medication. That was something that they could not miss. So what I would do is I would take the initiative to call the pharmacist and to make sure that we can do same day delivery. Once I would do that and got the approval to do so, the patients are always satisfied after that I assisted them and went above and beyond to make sure that they got their medication.
Beautiful. Do you know how quickly you can type on the computer?
It's over 55. It,
Beautiful, beautiful. And we'll send you over some assessments as well too. I didn't know if you'd
okay.
had ever taken one of the typing tests before. I also
Yeah.
see you have your medical coding and billing certificate, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful. And is it still active?
Yes. So I was looking at my certificate not too long ago. It doesn't say an expiration date. It's
Okay.
just the certificate.
All right. Fantastic. And why did you leave your most current position?
So at that time, I was having health issues. The previous year, I had lost my husband 2 days after we had our daughter. And so within mourning process, um, I was diagnosed with new health issues. So it was just health issues.
Understood. And I'm so, so sorry to hear about that. Ugh, it kind of threw me off my
Yeah.
energy. I'm sorry, Monique.
It's
That's
okay.
painful. That's awful. Well, to end on a high note, what is the most important thing to you about the next company that you work for?
Um, I'm looking for a new challenge. I mean, I do have the healthcare experience background, but definitely looking to do the same thing, but more of a challenge, to just do more things in a higher level. I mean, of course, me starting out, I wouldn't be there, but I'm just looking for opportunity of growth,
Okay,
um, and somewhere where I can excel and just bring, my previous experience over to the company to grow.
beautiful. And what do you need to make per hour to consider a position?
So, I was making 18.89 with Prime Therapeutics, so I'm looking to not go anywhere beyond that.
All right, fantastic. So no less than 19 to consider something.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and chat with you about a couple of openings if that sounds good.
Okay.